Moving on. This is probably, it is. It is the game of the week. And of course, you're going to have to make a decision if you're a baseball fan because it is a Monday Night Football game. It's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Detroit, licking their wounds after the butt kicking they took at Arrowhead last Sunday. The Lions are going to be 5-point favorites in this one. The over-under sits at 52.5. In terms of the money line, Tampa Bay plus 200, Detroit minus 240. Raider Jim, your thoughts? Tampa at Detroit.
Here I go. I'm going to campaign for Baker. This far into the season, okay, first 6 games of the season, he's throwing at 66%. He's got 1,539 yards. He's got 12 touchdowns. And he's like the anti-Geno Smith. He's thrown 1 interception in 6 games. Hell, Geno Smith doubles that in the first 7 minutes of any game. That's what I'm telling you. Unfortunately, here's the deal. Tampa Bay's defense isn't stellar, especially against the pass. Wrong team to have not a strong pass defense if you're playing against the Lions. And the other thing is, Jared Goff must be giddy. Just can't wait because that pass defense for Tampa Bay, they allow 7 yards per catch. And Jared's just going to go out there and just poke holes in them. So they're going to have to come up with this miraculous defensive stand and scheme. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do so. Baker, I think, is still going to be successful. I don't know if you saw the highlight of him, his rookie wide receiver who did the one-handed catch. And when he went up to him afterwards, he said, "Don't you ever disrespect one of my passes like that again, or we got a problem." And I was like, that's a leader. That is a leader. So that's the kind of thing I think you want to see out there in Philadelphia. Definitely what I'd like to see in Las Vegas. But what's going to happen in this game? I'll take Tampa Bay plus 5.5. I think they're going to be able to keep it close. The over-under, I got no issues going over on this one all day long. I think it's going to be, again, game of the week. Could be game of the first half of the season, but it's just going to be a fun one to watch. And let's again, the key is going to be, can Tampa Bay do something in their secondary to keep them in the game?
Yeah, I just kind of pulled up because I was interested to see. You brought up the MVP. I tell you what, you're Daniel Jones at 45-1. You'd make a lot of shirts if you hit that one. Does seem like, this, according to DraftKings, it was very difficult for me to find it on Bovada, and I don't want to even mess with my computer, open up any more tabs, and my whole computer might blow up. But Patrick Mahomes is your favorite at plus 175. And then Baker and Josh, both 3-1. And then a heavy drop-off when we get to Drake May, Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, 16-1. One thing that's very interesting, Lamar Jackson, 30-1 to win MVP. Dak Prescott, 40-1. Lamar Jackson has better odds than Daniel Jones by 50%. And don't do the math, but 30-1 versus 45-1. That's interesting. But anyways, in terms of this game, I just wanted to kind of get those out there because that was an interesting thought that I had. I like Tampa as well, plus 5.5. I think this is a field goal game. I think Detroit does win eventually. I do think we go over 52.5. This is, I think both of these teams look and they go, there's a very real chance we are staring at the NFC Championship game right now. And with that being said, you're going to need to win these games if you want the home field advantage. Now, I brought up Detroit and them being indoors, and then eventually they're going to have to go outdoors in January. I mean, if you put a gun to their head, at least weather-wise, Tampa would be the place they would want to go in the NFC. Mm-hmm. Now, the team, that's another issue. Detroit is very, very good. I just don't think they're good enough to cover 5.5 against a very, very good Tampa team, I should say. The other part of it, too, for Detroit, it seems like we say this pretty much every year, but continue to deal with injuries, even though Aiden Hutchinson playing well. Although I will say, Aiden Hutchinson, I mean, I assume he knew he was going to get flagged. One of the more obvious roughing the passers. It was like 2 full steps and then hit Patrick Mahomes. I'm borderline surprised he didn't get suspended for a month. But speaking of suspensions, Brian Branch for the Detroit Lions. He will not be playing in this one, and that is because of his his actions on Juju at the end of Sunday night's game.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate, and it's bad even when your coach comes out and was like, yeah, that was bad. And Dan Campbell said, yeah, that's not the guy. And then I did see a quote from Brian Branch today that kind of doubled down on it, and he said, I understand that, I understand why I got suspended, but you know what, someone had to do it, something like that. And there have been other players that have been like, I don't condone it, but I understand it. Sounds like Juju's got a bit of a reputation, so
He can talk. Man.
That was I just worked a T Swift in there, and I didn't even need it. A bit of a reputation. There might be some Swifties out there that'll be happy on that one. But anyways, Tampa Bay plus 5.5, and give me the over 52.5. I want to see a shootout. The one at least somewhat positive with these Monday night games is we do have staggered starts. So this game will go off at 4 on the West Coast. The other game starts at 7, so you're not having to do the back and forth with that as well with baseball, but just keep that in mind.